Today, I want to share with you one of the main reasons why it took me whole 5 years to start seeing trading consistency instead of just only 2. This is a very common mistake that very likely a lot of you are doing. I did it myself for a very long time. So in this video, I just want to share my learnings and hopefully make you aware of that mistake so you can absolutely avoid it by yourself and see success a lot faster. Without further ado, let's talk about it. Alright fanatics, welcome to the Trading Fanatic channel. Iliya here. Today we're going to talk about a game-changing topic. Now, are you right now feeling a little bit frustrated, a little bit confused, kind of really not knowing what to trade, how to trade, who to follow, and pretty much you are in a little bit of a frustration scenario where you're just like all over the place and you're very likely constantly looking for new YouTube videos to take something from this guy, to take something from that guy, and then you try to apply it on yourself, on your own strategy, but it just doesn't seem to work. And the first thing that I want you to be aware of is that this eventually turns into an addiction. You become addicted to getting those aha moments. So that, of course, you know that feeling when you watch a video and it's really good and in the moment you're like, wow, this makes sense. I really like this. I understand it. This is pretty much that aha moment that goes on in your mind. But when you go to the charts, you completely lose it. So pretty much those YouTube videos that you're watching are made in a very specific way so that they can actually illustrate the examples in a textbook manner in order for the educator to convey their view, to actually show you how the concept works. But yet again, this is just a single example. It's probably just one perfect example that you're never gonna see anymore. So that is the first trap. But that's just an introduction. Let's actually talk about the real problem that is the shiny object syndrome. You know the saying how the grass always looks greener on the other side? This shiny object syndrome applies to any area of life. If we take, for example, business, before I really wanted to make money online, so I first started with e-commerce, then I went, so I first focused, for example, on products for home. Didn't work out, got that shiny object syndrome, saw something that was working a little bit better. I jumped onto that, didn't work out. Then I looked at another business, another way of doing it, then I jumped onto that as well. So I never made progress because there was always something shiny that looked a little bit better than what I was doing right now. If we also take sports, for an example, athletes always reach a certain level of plateau. Right? And when they reach that plateau, you usually get maybe a little bit bored, a little bit discouraged. So guess what? You change your discipline, you change your sport, or you start doing some other things just out of boredom, right? But this plateau also is very easily seen in trading. That is when you have, for example, a break-even cycle. That is when you're having a losing period and you're pretty much put on that decision moment at which pretty much the market asks you, are you gonna keep going or are you gonna give up and change up everything? So usually at this very precise moment, you as a trader, you get discouraged, you think that your strategy is not working, you think that your mentor is not working, you go on YouTube, you find another video, and then again, it just looks really good. So you just snap and you're like, whoa, that makes sense. I'm gonna change to that. And this is exactly where you're going wrong. And I just want to right now jump onto a little notepad and illustrate why. All right, so let's have a look at this little graph that I have drawn for you right here. So on the vertical side of the axis, we have strategy, knowledge, and experience. And then on the horizontal side, we have time. Now, when you learn a new strategy, when you start something from the beginning, of course, you don't have any experience, and of course, you're starting from the zero in terms of time. Now, of course, when you first get into trading, you're going to be learning like the foundations, like what is a pip, what is risk management, what is price action, how to read charts. So you usually, with a very specific time, let's say, for example, I don't know, 6 months or even 3 months, you can learn all the basics and then you pretty much reach a level of a foundation. All right, so I just want to make this clear. But right now, we're not going to be talking about your overall trading experience. We want to talk about the strategy, knowledge, and experience. So when you learn a strategy, when you buy a course or when you watch a video and you pretty much get a new market approach, you are starting from zero. All right, you're starting from scratch. as you start learning that strategy once again, you develop a little bit of a knowledge over those concepts, over that approach. So again, in your mind, you're developing those new neural pathways, you know how it works, but that is usually when you're watching. So it starts making sense in your mind, you see what your mentor is telling you, right? Then there comes a time at which you pretty much obtain that certain level of experience, all right, for that very specific time, all right? And this is exactly the point here where you just usually, you stop watching, and right now it's actually time to make some money, right? It's time to jump into the market. What is going to happen for you, which is probably 95% certain, you are going to go through a losing streak, all right? So when you actually go live and when you actually start trading, you are going to go through a losing streak, all right? So pretty much here, imagine that this is our losing streak, all right? Then usually you are going to enter into a little bit of a break-even period. So there is a specific point here of time, right? There is a specific time frame that you're not making money. And that is normal because when you learn that strategy, pretty much your mentor or that video, whatever you watched, this is that educator telling you how they see the market. But you cannot see the market like they do just by watching their course, right? So this is not yet experience. You haven't really seen the things develop in the market. You haven't really experienced those things and you haven't really built those neural pathways in your mind that you understand the strategy, you've seen it play out, and you're pretty much confident in executing it. However, if you are a beginner or maybe even an intermediate, I did this mistake for 3 to 4 years, right? You still think that there could be a strategy that if you just learn, right? If you just watch the videos, if I give you the rules right now, it's just gonna be like plug and play, right? You're gonna go on the market and it's just gonna start working out. And this is not the case. But usually it is at this very precise moment right here where you are faced with a decision point. So I call these type of periods decision points, all right? And this is when usually something shiny is going to appear, all right? This is just pretty much how the market works, or the universe. We are always tested, okay? And at this very precise period, maybe you had a losing streak, maybe you had a break-even streak, and you just feel like that nothing is working. You have two choices. You either decide to change the approach, to change the strategy, to change strategy variables and all of that sort of stuff, or you decide to stick at it. Okay, so let me show you what actually happens. If you decide to start from scratch and change your strategy, what you don't realize is that you're starting from the absolute zero. So you are pretty much starting from right here, right? And all of this time that you spent here is right now wasted. It's just going out of the window, all right? Yes, of course, you are building still experience, you are learning things, but the more you learn in trading, the more your mind is gonna get crazy, so at the end of the day, you just don't know what to do, all right? So then, of course, you go here to zero, and guess what happens? You see a new YouTube video, here you pretty much get triggered with the shiny object syndrome, right? And you decide to change, and you buy that new course, you watch that new video, you try testing that new strategy, and guess what? You are, in terms of your strategy, knowledge, and experience, you are starting once again from zero. And then the cycle repeats. It will once again take you, let's just say, for example, I don't know, 1 or 2 months to pretty much learn the foundation of the strategy, learn how it works. Then at this moment on, you have to go live. And when you go live, once again, very rarely, you're just gonna start winning. You could start winning, but there is going to be a losing streak. There is going to be a moment which the market will always give you when you're going to start questioning yourself, questioning the strategy. And once again, you know, I call this the decision points, the decisive moments. So for example, here, we start trading live and we're kind of break even. We fail to make money. We make some, we lose it. We make some, we lose it again. And pretty much at this period, once again, damn, that was not a nice line. At this period here, you are once again faced with a decision point. What are you doing? All right. So then in this case, if you are a beginner, once again, you think you have that flawed mindset. All right, this strategy doesn't work. I'm gonna scratch it. Guess what? I just found this very nice new YouTube video. I'm gonna learn from that mentor. It looks like he's doing amazing on his YouTube videos. And guess what? Once again, you start from scratch. You go all the way back down right now, and all of that thing that you learned once again just goes to zero. And you can see right now that we're spending so much time, but we are not growing experience and we're not getting that strategy knowledge. So what you end up doing is you keep learning a foundation, right? Going live, getting a break even in a losing streak, thinking that the strategy doesn't work, right? You make a decision, you have at your decision point here, right? You make a decision to change, you go back from zero. And this is what you have to realize. Anytime you decide to change something, you go from zero. All right? And it took me a very long time to realize it because I thought, okay, I'm gonna learn everything I know. I'm gonna study from all the mentors. I'm gonna get all the courses. And if I can somehow later combine everything all together, it's gonna work. No, it doesn't. So right now, let me actually show you how you should be approaching it. All right, so you just learned about this vicious cycle of changing strategies and starting from zero. And by now, you probably know what you should be doing. So once again, we learn a strategy. We start from zero. We are going to spend time learning pretty much and getting that foundational experience and that foundational knowledge with that strategy. We pretty much reach this point here, this point of time, and this point in terms of experience, all right? And that is the moment when, of course, you have to start going live, because why do you learn this strategy? You learn it to make money. So you have to go live and trade it. This is why I'm also not a huge fan of backtesting and paper trading and this type of things, because this does not teach you pretty much how to make money, right? It's still a little bit of a trap. We're going to talk about in another video for the backtesting trap. But here, let's just say you are right now entering a losing streak live. And right now it's a time, and in terms of your P&L, so imagine this is P&L right there, not really experience, right? This is P&L, okay? You here reach this moment of time, okay? When you are pretty much losing money, and however, as you're losing that money here, your experience is actually growing. So this is something that I cannot really illustrate on the graph, but hear me out right now. When you're right now faced with this decision point, what do I do? Do I keep going with this strategy? Do I keep learning it? Do I keep committing myself to it? Or do I change it and find something that maybe works better? In this case, you decide to stick to it. And what you do is you pretty much reflect on that losing streak. You extract all the learnings, you add new lessons, you add new rules, you add new tweaks, you pretty much go and find what worked, what didn't work, why am I losing, all right? Then you pretty much take all of that and you put it back right now at your current experience, all right? And then guess what? You decide to stick with a strategy so you don't start from zero. No, right now you're starting from where you were here, right? And guess what? Right now, you maybe enter into a break-even performance like that. Then you're faced with another decision point right here. Maybe you took some losses right now. You're maybe still break-even. You still don't like your performance. All right, another decision point. Okay, so at this moment, once again, you go back and you analyze this period. You take all the learning, you go back, you analyze all of that period, you take all the learnings, and then you apply those learnings right here. And guess what? You just keep repeating the process. And right here, you're just focusing on that one strategy, and your strategy knowledge and experience right now is growing. Okay, we of course talk about P&L here, but if you just simply stick to that strategy, if you keep reflecting, if you keep finding new things, your knowledge about that strategy and your experience with it grows. And guess what? After the decision point, well, you right now start actually making money. Then maybe you enter another break-even period, which is always going to happen, right? We're always going to have losses. We're always going to have slow periods. Then once again, another decision point. But look where we are right now. Right, we've spent a lot of time right here, and our strategy, knowledge, and experience is growing. We are right now having an uptrend, okay? And guess what? At this decision point, once again, you go back, you analyze this, you take all the learnings, you apply it to the current performance right now, and guess what? This is the process. That is how you become a master of trading, all right? So pretty much when you get those decision points, you have to make a decision. Do I stick to it or do I change it? Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about that. So what should you do to actually transcend this problem? The first thing you have to realize is that you have a flawed belief. I want you to realize that everything works in the market. Every single strategy, every single concept, every single approach, every single thing works in the market. There are 1,000 frameworks, 1,000 strategies, 1,000 indicators, 1,000 ways to approach a market, 1,000 ways to read a chart, and everything is working. Everything can be made to work. So you first have to destroy your flawed belief that there is just one thing that, and only this one thing is working. This is what is pretty much stopping you from achieving that consistency with your own strategy, making it your own, and pretty much gaining that strategy experience, because you always think that there is always something better and something that just works. That's not the case. The second thing you have to do is you have to stop participating in market debates, right? I see in our industry right now, there are a lot of rocks being thrown at specific people, at specific concepts, right? A lot of people come in, the market is gonna go up. No, the market is gonna go down. Oh, this works, this strategy doesn't work. You are a retail trader, I'm a smart money trader, I'm profitable. If you are thinking this way, and if you're actually participating in these conversations and these debates, this just shows me you are a little bit ignorant and you are not focused on what matters. Recently, I heard a quote that goes like this: "You are only wrong if you pick a side." Right? So you're only wrong if you pick a side. Our world and the universe exists within duality. Black and white, good and bad, ugly and beautiful, you know what I mean. So imagine if I come in right now and tell you, you should only be taking sells. Only sell orders in the market work. Buys, if you're taking buys, you're gonna be a losing trader. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, what's wrong with buy orders, right? You have to be neutral. Sell orders and buy orders both work. In order for a sell order to exist, there needs to be a buy order. In order for a buy order to exist, there needs to be a sell order, right? Or what if I tell you, you should only eat meat. Eating meat is the right way to go. This is the only way to be healthy. What's wrong with vegetables? What's wrong with lentils? What's wrong with dairy? What's wrong with bread? So you see, the message to extract from this one is that there is no thing that just works. And there is not just one only thing that works in the market and also in life. For every individual person, there could be something that works for them, but just because that works individually for them, that does not mean it's gonna work for the whole world as well. Which right now brings us to the next point. So very likely you want to be a consistently profitable trader. And I want for us to stress on the word consistently. So if you want to be a consistently profitable, then guess what? You have to also put in consistent practices and consistent actions. Because consistency, right, consistent results is pretty much a result of consistent input and consistent action, right? Meanwhile, you are changing your strategy every month, you're changing strategy variables constantly, you take a loss, then all of a sudden you say, I'm not gonna take this trade again, then you take another loss, then you're not gonna take that trade again, then you take a stupid trade, you think, okay, this is what I'm gonna be doing. You're constantly doing random stuff, and then you think that you could expect consistency. It's just not going to work out. If you want consistent output, which is consistent results, you have to give consistent input, which is pretty much consistent processes, consistent strategy, consistent routines, and everything should be the same, consistent. So once again, remember, no matter what that video you watch tells you, no matter what that course tells you, no matter how much sense it makes at first, until you go live in the market, you execute the trades, you see the trades, you journal them, you experience the losses, you learn from the losses, you see those things happening, all right? There is no other way for you to learn something, all right? That is pretty much the only way, and that is how you grow as a trader. Because you're gonna develop that deep understanding of your strategy, and pretty much that deep understanding gives you confidence, it gives you market understanding, and then at the end of the day, you become one with the market. You understand how the market operates, you understand your stance in the market, which is pretty much your edge, and you simply start making money. So right now, let's get actionable. Let me give you a formula, 10 steps, so that you can actually achieve consistency in very short period of time. First of all, pick a strategy. Now, depending on your experience, you might still be experimenting with strategies. You might still kind of finding your feet around the market, seeing what you like, see what you don't like. Pick something and make an intentional decision to just stick to it and dedicate the next year on doing just this one thing, just this one approach, just this one setup, just this one mentor. All right? Step 1. Step 2, stop talking to other traders. I've been in this pattern before. I talked to a lot of people. Somebody comes in, yo bro, this works amazing. You should really add this to your trading. Yo bro, check out this amazing video. This guy is just nuts. He's making some amazing analysis. He has some amazing concepts. Cut all the noise. You chose your strategy. It's you versus you. Cut everybody and just focus on yourself. That's step number 2. Step number 3. Open a live account or take the smallest challenge that you can afford and start trading live. Don't waste time backtesting, because backtesting builds bad habits, and you do not learn from backtesting because there is nothing on the line. You learn when you actually take the losses, when you get those tough periods, and when you're actually faced with a decision point. All right, what do I do? Do I keep going or do I change the strategy? So open a small live account, something that you can afford to lose, something that is like giving you maybe a little bit of an emotion inside, right? Not, for example, for some of you, $100 could be a lot, but for some of you, $100, you can throw them on the street, right? So pick something that is not extremely big, something that you can afford to lose, but that it's not extremely small, that you don't care about it. That's step number 3. Open a live account or take a small funded challenge and start trading live. Step number 4, make sure to journal every single trade that you take and journal every single detail that comes with it. Day, time, setup, hard time frame analysis, pair, absolutely any detail that you can potentially think of, you journal every single trade. Step number 4. Step number 5, you take 20 live trades. All of them are journaled. Step number 6, you're very likely going to be faced right now with a decision point. All right, you're very likely going to be break-even-ish, or very likely you're going to be losing. You stick to it. You do not change. You then perform a reflection. You spend a full day going over those 20 previous trades that you took, and you just simply ask very simple questions. Why did I win? Why did I lose? What works? What doesn't work? Then, step 7, you add tweaks and rules to your current understanding based on what works and what doesn't work. I want you to make it easy to take profitable trades and make it hard to take losing trades. So if you find yourself taking a very common loss, so for example, myself, I found that I was taking London losses a lot. So guess what? I made it hard for myself to be taking London losses by just eliminating trading during London. All right? Or you could eliminate a specific setup. Then what works, you make sure that you make what works a very big part of your trading plan. You make that very big reflection, you add new rules, you add new tweaks, and guess what? Step number 8, I think, you take another 20 trades. And those 20 trades right now are done with tweaks that are based on your own data. It's not the video you saw, it's not what your mentor told you, you actually took those trades, this is your own performance, your own executions, and you add your own rules. You take those another 20 trades, usually you're gonna do better. Then you are once again gonna be faced with a decision point after the next 20 trades. What you do right now, which is pretty much step 9, is you once again go back to analyze the previous 20 trades, right? So by that time you're taking 40 trades, you analyze the previous 20 trades and you reflect on them once again. What worked, what didn't work, what stays, what goes out. Then pretty much you do that same thing. You take another 20 trades, reflect back. Another 20 trades, reflect back. Another 20 trades, reflect back. And then pretty much step 10 is to go to 100 executed trades. That is your milestone. And I promise you, by the time you have taken 100 trades, you're very likely, with that strategy that you're using, you're very likely going to be having positive results. You're very likely going to have learned a lot about yourself, and you're very likely going to start feeling a little bit better about yourself and starting to feel consistent. because you're sticking to that one thing, you're taking those same trades, and you're pretty much right now on your own. Because there always comes a time at which you have to separate yourself from your mentor and start finding your own self and your own niche in the market. So this is my 10-step plan for you on pretty much how to start making progress and how to start exiting that vicious cycle of hopping strategies. Alright fanatics, that is pretty much it. I really hope this message resonated with you and you're right now finding yourself motivated to finally stick to something. Remember, you can make everything work in the market because everything works. What matters is that you actually find your own self in the market, you learn from your own mistakes, you add your own rules, and pretty much then you find yourself in the market. So let me know, are you a victim of this shiny object syndrome? Are you constantly looking for new YouTube videos? If you are, and if you're watching up until now, I want you to affirm in the comments. I have a strategy and I'm going to stick to it no matter what. Make this a promise to yourself, and I promise you, follow that 10-step guideline that I gave you and you're gonna be so much improved just after a couple of months. Hope that made sense, and I'm gonna talk to you in the next video.